Hello YouTube, it is me again, back with another video, and I'm actually standing up right now, so I'm gonna sit down. Hold on. Alright, much better. Okay. So this, as you can probably see, is a sketchbook. And a fun fact for you guys. Well, two fun facts. Fun fact number one, my dogs are in my room. Not much I can do about that. So you may hear them running around and causing a ruckus, and I may have to stop filming for a minute because they're barking. Because there's construction going on outside, and my bedroom is the only place that's quiet. So, here we are. Also, fun fact number two. This is the first sketchbook I have ever kept. Ever. Now that probably sounds weird because, you know, I'm an art channel, I guess, technically. Wow, that's weird for me to say out loud. But I am. And, you know, most artists keep sketchbooks, but I don't know. I never had a sketchbook. That was pretty much how it worked. I just kind of drew on whatever was handy, and I never had a solid sketchbook unless it was for school, and those don't really count. Also, another fun fact, this is a sweater draped over a tray table to make a nice backdrop. That's hilarious to me, but I thought it would look nice with a nice color. So I chose a red sweater. So let's get into this. As you can see, it's a Copic sketchbook because I wanted to use alcohol markers. And I know Copic is good with alcohol markers. That's pretty much it. All right. So this little one right here, this is Day 1 Poisonous. And I wanted to do a snake charmer because when I think of poisonous, I think of snakes. Last Inktober, I think they had the prompt poison, and I drew poison ivy. And I think I probably would have done that this time as well had I not drawn her last year. I hope I'm doing enough like on camera to make this interesting. But this guy is a snake charmer, as you can see by the little snake he's got coiling around his leg. And he has like snake tattoos and a couple other tattoos. He has the word poison tattooed here on his collarbone, but I don't think you can see that. And I would zoom in, but I'm afraid to touch my tripod because of where it is right now. And he has this cool design here that I just wanted to make him look cool and exotic. And this is actually a ballet pose that I found online, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna do a guy or a girl at first, but then I saw this really cool ballet pose that this guy was doing, and so I was like, yep, that's the pose. And these hands, do you even see these hands? Look at them. Oh my gosh, okay. Let's get this back in focus. Okay. So this is Day 1 Poisonous, and I tried to do like a smoky green effect behind him, but yeah, that didn't work out so well. So these are the color swatches for Poisonous down here. This is just me testing how these markers work. It's not my best drawing. I just went straight in with a brush pen, and I'm still not very good with the brush pen, so it came out looking really weird. But it was mostly just kind of my way of familiarizing myself with how the markers worked with this paper. Because I had used the markers on Bristol paper before, but not on this paper. So I did these before I colored in this guy. So this was a little color experiment that I did actually September 29th. So I had this guy drawn in the end of September because I started Inktober planning way ahead with the thought that I would record all of my drawings, but that just became a lot of pressure and I fell behind, and yeah. Moving on. This is a little bit of thumbnail sketches that I did for Tranquil, which is actually on the other side of the page, but these are like thumbnail sketches that I did. I wanted to do something that I would find Tranquil, so I did, I don't know if you see these little thumbnails up here, like a wintry cabin, a cabin in the mountains, the inside of a cabin. This is a bigger thumbnail sort of thing, the inside of the cabin that I saw in like one of those Facebook GIFs. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's a GIF of a cabin with a fireplace and everything. And I thought it was really pretty, but I was having a hard time nailing it down. But one of the things that I do find really tranquil is like a really cold, snowy day and a warm, cozy fireplace. Because that's me.
So, this is, let me turn the page over. Oh, sorry, bumped the tripod.
This is Tranquil, and I used blue, like, ballpoint pen for this entire drawing. I used 2 different shades of blue. I used a darker blue and then a lighter blue, and I actually ended up hating the lighter blue because it was more green than I thought it would be. So I went back over it, I don't know if you can tell, with the darker blue to sort of mute it. But this is kind of in Delft Blue style with the colors, with the white and the dark blue. I don't know if you know what Delft Blue is, but if you don't, look it up. I think it's spelled like D-E-L-F-T, even though it's not pronounced that way because it's Dutch. So that's why I have this little painting right here. This little painting in the fireplace is actually Delft Blue design. So that's why I did that. Fun facts with Gabby. So now we flip this back over and we have Roasted. This drawing actually took me forever. I only just finished this one because I did a computer mock-up of this and then I set everything out, I made the pose, and I got like the vague line art, but I imagined this drawing with really vivid, warm colors. And I just don't have the appropriate materials to traditionally get the effect that I want. So I was really torn, so I kept putting off inking it because I wasn't sure what I was gonna do with it. I wasn't sure if I was gonna cheat, if I was gonna like use colored pencils or something, which I guess it's not really cheating. Inktober is mostly a draw every day challenge, but I was still trying to stick mostly to inks. And it felt weird, but what I ended up doing was using a lot of like hatching. Here I did like a lighter hatching to sort of have like the illusion of a tree back here, and then some darker hatching. Here, like the campfire is all just hatching around the edge. And I wanted to go over it with like a dark brown wash, like a really thin wash, except for the fire, to kind of give everything else a sort of like, I don't know, nighttime effect. But I was worried about ruining the piece, and I was really happy with how it looked, so I just decided to leave it be. And the only one who actually has anything roasted is this girl here, who has her little roasted marshmallow, her marshmallows, or mallows. I don't know, I always forget how you actually spell marshmallow. So yeah, this is Roasted. I really like this one, but I do think it could be better. Its depth isn't that great. I think everything is a little uniform, and that wasn't what I wanted for this piece, but that was just kind of, you know, how the cookie crumbled, so yeah, let's move on. This one's adorable. Hold on, let me move this sketchbook a little. There we go. This one's adorable. So these are my characters, Leon and Adeline, who I have drawn on this channel before, and I think I actually drew them for the last Inktober, now that I'm thinking about it. I did, because they were the Inktober drawing that I hated. Like, viscerally hated. I've redeemed myself, because I really like this one. I think this one's adorable. I did this one, the prompt for this one is spell, by the way. I don't know if I'm talking enough about the prompts, but I kind of ripped off Zoe Mariner's idea of, like, you put a spell on me, kind of like a sweet romantic gesture type thing, because I thought it was cute, and she said I was allowed to, okay? So, I'm sorry. So this is Adeline and Leon, and I did sort of their outlines in pencil, and then I erased it lightly, and then went back in with pen, and I tried to color coordinate the pen. So her hair is an orange pen with a brown pen over top of it because she's a ginger. His hair is a brown pen, their skin is brown, her shirt is black because her shirt is white, but I can't do a white pen on white paper, and his shirt is purple because his kingdom's colors are purple, red, and gold, I think. It's my own kingdom, I should know these things. But I know the dominant one is purple. It's purple and gold. And yeah, these two I think are adorable, and I really like how I pulled them off. My dad seems to think that I'm better at her, like I put more effort into her than I did him, which isn't true per se, but I am better at female faces and females in general. So that's something I'm trying to work on, and it's something I work on a couple of times throughout Inktober. Aw, okay. This one, I'm kind of disappointed. Okay, see, I like the concept for this piece a lot, and I'm sorry if the lighting is changing. I'm doing this a little later in the day than I had planned to. I really like the idea. It's this character of mine who is Clara, I think. Clara, right? Clara? Why can I not remember? I think it's because I recently changed her name, but this is my character, and she is like the sweetest character. She is a beacon of light and love and hope, and she loves all animals. So for Chicken, I wanted to have like her in a garden with some chickens playing around her, and she'd be super happy and at peace with the chickens. But, guys, it just got so away from me. I tried to allude to a garden behind her with these like little like fence things. I don't even know. But I kind of just hate it. And what sucks is when I did the pencil sketch of her face, I really liked it. And then I went to ink it and I messed it up. And that, oh guys, it makes me so sad. I can't tell you how sad it makes me. So, but the chickens are cute, the little chicks. I like the little chicks, and that's about all I can say for this drawing. Bye, chicken. This one. This one requires a little explaining, I think. So the prompt was drooling, which is, I guess this kind of looks more like a tongue or something, but it's supposed to be like he's drooling. I don't know. This one was inspired by another person and what they did for drooling, because I was really kind of lost for this prompt. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I don't know. I saw this sort of like graphic, very like black and white, like strong black style that they did, and I wanted to do something similar, so I thought I would design a cute little like doll style monster who is drooling, and then I would create like a cool graphic background. And I don't know, a lot of people tend to like this one. I've had a lot of compliments on this one. I've even had someone say like this is their favorite out of my Inktober pieces, but I don't know. It's interesting. I just don't know if it's usually, I don't know. October was a really hard month for me, and I think this was part of the reason I'm having trouble connecting with this drawing, is because it came at a time when I was not doing really well. So I kind of associate this drawing with that, which is unfortunate, but yeah. Okay, this one. So this one is sort of my way, or it was sort of my way of getting out those feelings. And the prompt was exhausted, so I decided to kind of tackle like insomnia, and my thought was draw a person in the throes of insomnia where you get that paranoia and hallucinations. And originally I was gonna have the background filled with like tiny text with like all of the various symptoms for insomnia in various like jarring fonts, but that was just really hard and I didn't have time because school has been crazy. So instead I just opted to do this really extreme expression with like the very cross-hatched shading to give a lot of dramatic effect, and then the pops of color. There's like a little bit of red in her eyes, sort of on the outsides, to emphasize like bloodshot eyes, and then the word insomnia is in red, which you can totally see, right? Yeah, you can see it. All right. Sorry. I'm talking so fast that I'm like winding myself. So that was Exhausted. This one I like, but I'm a little disappointed. I don't know if you can see it very well because of the camera, but hopefully you can. This prompt was star, and you might be able to see she has little stars, little metallic stars around her. I don't know if you can pick up the metallic when I move it. That was a big sigh from my doggo just now. But this is a character of mine named Data. And maybe it's not the best name for a fantasy character, but I made it up a long time ago and now I'm sticking with it. And it's written D-A-T-A-E, and she is an elf, as you can probably tell from her little elfy ears that you might be able to see. I don't know, can you? Can you see her little ears? At this angle you can probably see that her face got smudged somehow. I don't know how that happened, but it makes me really sad because I really liked her little face. But the reason I did her for Star is because of something that her family says about her. So a little insight into this character. She is an orphan and no one knows where she came from. So she was just sort of found one day by her adoptive parents, who spent a while trying to figure out where she came from and see if she had family, but no one ever stepped up to claim her, so they ended up just taking her in and raising her as their own. And they were unable to have children, so they were like, you know, it's a blessing. But as soon as she came into their lives just changed dramatically. She was finally able, the mother was finally able to get pregnant, and they had a daughter of their own, and it was like all of a sudden they were this big, happy family. And one of the things that they used to say about their darling daughter is that she was their gift from the stars. Because no one knows where she came from, but wherever she goes, she tends to bring insight and love and warmth into people's lives. And then I do some stuff to my precious little baby, because I'm a mean author and I give my characters terrible lives, and if they met me in person, they would hate me. Yes, they would. I love this one. I love this one. My dog is shaking. Coco? Hey, Coco. Coco. I'm filming a video here. Yeah. I'm filming. Okay. I love this one. So the prompt is precious, and the sort of like caption for this one would be, what little time they got to spend together was precious. So this is Octavia and this is Pele, and if you watch Zoe Mariner's videos, you will probably recognize Pele, or you might not because she's in black and white. But these are characters from the Miraverse, as we call it, or Mariana, as Zoe would prefer we call it. Coco, Doggo, is being disrespectful to my drawings. Octavia was a character. She is one of Aquarelle's princesses. She is one of King Flippy's like 12 children. And she is one of the older children. And she and Pele have a thing. And because Pele is a fire princess and she is a mermaid, they don't really get to spend that much time together. So I wanted to do sort of like a brief interaction between the two And my original plan was to do like something from far away where you would see Pele in here and then Octavia here, and they would be looking at each other. But I was having so much trouble with this composition. So much trouble. And eventually I was like, maybe I just need to go back and rethink this entire composition, this entire pose. And I'm so glad that I did, because I came up with this, and I think that it is just so sweet and adorable, and I love it. And hopefully you love it too. Okay, flowing. Flowing, flowing, flowing. This is my goddess character from my fantasy world. Her name is Anala, and she is a goddess. And for flowing, I just really wanted to go with a very like flowy, like fabric blowing in the breeze, and I thought it would be a good excuse for me to practice fabric. So I looked up a reference of like somebody in a long dress standing and blowing in the breeze, and I found one that was this cool medieval dress, and it had these ribbons on it that were all blowing in the breeze. So I drew it, and I added elf ears. And what's really fun about this character is I get to cheat. I get to cheat when I draw this character because her hair is always blonde and her eyes are always blue. But whoever sees her the way they envision beauty. So if you're looking at someone and maybe this is the way you'd find someone attractive, that's how you would see her. But it's not like, she's not seductive. She is beautiful and warm and maternal, and anyone that you would see in that light, that's kind of the appearance that she has to you. So whenever I draw her, I never really have to draw her the same way twice because she always looks different. It just depends on who's seeing her, and that is my cheat. That's my cheat for this character. Okay, on to Cruel. I'm sorry, I keep looking, like trying to look into my viewfinder just to make sure you guys can still see the drawings. These are my characters, Charlotte and Ambrose, who I mentioned in my Moonlight video. These two are my vampire characters, who Cruel fits for them. They are both very selfish and cruel people, and they do what they want when they want to who they want, and they don't care about anyone but themselves and each other. Charlotte is more crazy. Ambrose is vindictive and cold and manipulative, and he comes across more like serial killer-y. Whereas Charlotte is just insane. Like, she can go from super sweet and someone you'd love to hang out with to like violently throwing things at you in an instant, and you never know what's gonna set her off. So she, I think, is scary in a different way from him. But both of them have a really mean streak, and they don't care who they hurt. So they're a lot of fun. I really like villains. I love writing villains, I love drawing villains, I love everything about villains. Villain, 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 villain. Anyway, onward. The prompt was whale, so I drew a whale. That's all I gotta say about that one. I drew a whale, and I think it's adorable. I wanted to do actually a wash of blue ink over the top of it, like a thin, like use alcohol to dilute blue from my alcohol markers, because if I did watercolor it would smear all my ink, and that's not what I want. And just do like a blue wash over the top because it's the ocean. But I, like I said before, decided not to do that. Guarded. This one's interesting. I like this one and I don't at the same time. This is my character, Minerva, and if you remember the character that I drew in Chicken, this is her mother. And her mother is, as the prompt states, a very guarded person. She is queen of the elves, and she is very distrusting. She doesn't trust anyone. She actually, okay, fun little story about my queen. She had her husband killed because he was a danger to the balance. And so she had him killed, and then once she got her people to accept her, she admitted to the people that she'd had him killed and put herself on trial and exonerated herself publicly in front of the city so that the people would understand why she killed their king, and that they would accept her as their new queen. So she is a badass. I will not take that away from Minerva. She's a little unstable, but she's a badass. And she loves her daughter very much. She is actually only able to love her daughter. She has been cursed. But that is something to get into another video about my elves and their abilities and what their abilities mean. And that is a whole other video about world building that I have yet to get into. So look forward to that. I love this one. I love it, 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 I love it. I love it. So the prompt for this one was clock, as you may probably be able to tell by the giant clock. And this one was inspired by a canary witch drawing that I will link in the description if I remember to. And oh my goodness, it's just so pretty to me. I am so happy with how it turned out. And I used my alcohol markers and I blended them to get shading and this cool ombre effect from this darker to this brighter turquoise, and I just think it looks so lovely. I do wish that I had a lighter skin tone or a colorless blender that I could have used to really get a little bit more of a cleaner wash over the skin and to help me get some really soft, pale wrinkles in the fabric here, but I don't. The only thing that I think makes me a little sad about this drawing is right here in this little buckle. I tried to overlay another yellow color to make it look a little more gold, and for some reason that marker, I forgot, really tears up paper, and I don't know why, but that marker on its own, by itself, likes to destroy paper, which makes me sad. But I really like this one. I think this character is a little creepy. Like, she doesn't have like pupils or anything. I don't know if you can see that, but she doesn't have like pupils, and it's a little creepy, but I think it's really pretty and I really like it, and I hope you like it too. So yes, let's move on. So this one, the prompt was weak. There are a couple of them where I did like a black and gray character or something in the center, and then the back was a wash of color. And this was one of the first ones in terms of prompt order, because towards the end of Inktober, I just started doing whichever prompt inspired me most that day and just skipped the prompts that I wasn't sure about, and this was one of the ones that I skipped for a while. But the prompt for this one is weak, and so I drew a dude. But there is a particular thing about this dude. This dude is sort of a redraw of an old character and something of a redesign of an old character. And what's funny about this character, his name is Malvinus, and I came up with him in my freshman year of high school. He is a sort of con artist magician where he does sleight of hand, and he's a very sneaky guy, and his secret is that he actually does have magic, and his magic is a very deceptive form of magic. His magic basically lies in trickery, and that's what he does. And he really doesn't care about people, and he's a coward. So he is a weak character. He doesn't really have a moral compass. He's a coward. He will run from a fight. He's not someone you want on your team, and he is one of my weirdest characters. Okay, So I have really strong memories attached to this character, which includes my friend Amanda, who I'm still friends with. She's great. Doing a really ridiculous dance, and I don't even know how to describe this dance, but it's amazing and I love it. So, because this character I associate with a Panic at the Disco song. I don't remember what it's called. It's one of the ones with a really long title. It's, please leave all overcoats, games, and top hats with the doorman. From that moment, you'll be out of place and underdressed. That song. I'll try to put the title up. Nowish title. Anyway, let's see if editing me remembers that. But this character cracks me up because of that. And the first and only time that I've drawn this character, I had to draw him with crayons because that was all I had on hand, which was really funny to me. But this is a redraw of that character, and I associate him with the color purple because his magic is purple, for some reason. His character has kind of been pulled apart and made into two other characters. One who I have yet to rename, who is a villain in one series, and then pulled into a hero in another series, because I realized I liked parts of this character, but he was also kind of a contradictory character, so I just kind of pulled him apart into two characters, one who is a trickster villain and one who is a bit of a sort of, not sleazy, but a sort of like street thief kind of guy who he has redeeming qualities and who slowly comes back to himself over the course of one of the stories. And yeah, so this character has been remodeled a lot. Let's move on. Angular. This one makes me happy, and I will tell you why. This drawing actually has a fun story associated with it. There is a guy in my math class who I am friends with, and I was trying to think of what to draw, and I knew I wanted to draw like an angular face. Like, you know how they describe features as like more angular, or like if you read a book, it'll be like he had a sharp angular nose. I wanted to try and kind of capture a very angular face. So very long, very pointy chin, very kind of pointy eyes, long pointy elf ears, and I was thinking, what else is angular? So I was like, what can I add to this drawing that's angular? And Colton was like, a huge collar, like a huge pointy dramatic collar, and I was like, sold. So then I added like triangles because, you know, angles, and I added like a little scar, I don't know why, because I thought it made him look cool, and some kind of pointy facial hair, and because he was turning out to look really like like kind of emo and punk, I decided to give him like this half-shaved look, as well as these like slit cat eye pupils. So yeah, this looks like a really mischievous elf punk badass, and he makes me happy. Some part of me wants to put this, like scan this in and put the line art on my Instagram and just see how people would color him, like put this line art up and have people color him, just so I can see what they think his color scheme would be, because I don't know. I think that'd be fun. Do you think that'd be fun? Let me know. Oh, right. This one. Okay, so this one disappoints me because it's kind of awful. Okay, this one had so much potential, but I made the mistake of not looking up a reference, and it shows. I tried to do like a pregnant belly, and when I had like the sketch was a little more, I don't know, it worked a little better in terms of the curve of the pregnancy belly. And then I inked it and I messed up the line and I just had to go with it. My mom has a few ideas for how I might make this a little better. She wants me to add like a seam here so that it further emphasizes that she's standing sideways, but I don't know. I just think that this was an off day. It's not one of my best, and I'm content with that. Bottle. So, I don't know if you can see the really light, sketchy lines, but I had initially planned, I'm realizing now, hold on, I have to resituate, because otherwise I'm going to slowly pull this sketchbook off the end of the table. I wanted to do like a background, like the inside of a ship, like pirate ship, like Captain Hook had captured a ferry type scene, but it just didn't work out. But I think this little fairy is adorable, and originally I hadn't drawn a cork in, and all of a sudden I was looking at it in the middle of math class and I went, wait, why wouldn't she just fly out of the bottle? Like, that bottle opening is big enough, she could just like fly up and squeeze her way out and she'd be gone. So I drew in a cork. And then I sketched in like a couple other little bottles and tried to add like a chair and a table, but I don't know. This one feels a little unfinished, but I think it could be cute if I went back in and added a little more effort to it. Maybe I'll do that. Digitally, I might come in and remaster this one and make it into a full painting. Maybe. This one is super metallic. I don't know if you can really see that. But the theme was Scorched. So I added cool fire effects, as you can see. And this is my character, Adrian, who is a bit of an old character, actually. He is a character I created in middle school, I think. He is interesting. He is one of my tragic character backstory characters, where he has, he inherits his powers, and when he's young and he exhausts himself, he burns himself and he scorches himself. But after he gets old enough to learn to control his powers, he can't be burned again. So he's just left with this scar, but he's actually not able to burn. But he does a lot of bad, sad things. He accidentally burns down his childhood home. He ends up working for the bad guys because he's trying to save his brother, who is in league with the bad guys, and he thinks he can convince his brother to go good if he stays long enough, and he can't. But yeah, in terms of the drawing, I think it's pretty okay. I like the drawing. This silver here, I think actually still rubs off if you touch it, is a gel pen, and the gold down here started as a gel pen, but I had to go over it with acrylic because my gel pen ran out like partway through, and I couldn't just leave it empty and have like a vague gold schmear. That would have just driven me crazy, so I went in with acrylics. And I think I also did acrylics on the next piece. Yes, I did. Because I wanted gold. I'm sorry. 1 second. I need to breathe. Okay. This one is Breakable. And as you can see, it is a lady with many cracks. But if you look closely enough, I don't know if you can tell. I don't know if you can even see it on camera. But there is gold. And one of the mistakes that I made was I did the cracks in black, and then I went over it in gold. And the gold ended up mixing with the black. And I just haven't had time to go back over and do another coat of the gold, which would have made it brighter. But But this is actually based on a Japanese practice that I know how you say it. I know how you write it. It's kintsugi, I think it is. And that's actually the symbol for it. That's the Japanese. I don't want to offend people. But the practice is a golden repair. So what they do is if they drop a piece of pottery, for instance, when they pick it back up, they don't just like, oh, well, now it's broken, we can't use it. They will sometimes mix gold in with epoxy and repair it so that the cracks just become another part of the story instead of being the end of the story. And I think that's a beautiful practice, and I love it deeply and with my core. So that was what I wanted to go for. And this is my character Sesume, who is a very tragic character, but a very beautiful character. She is Japanese, and I tried to pull off Japanese. I was referencing, I think her name is Mesa Kuroki. I'll try and do something with that so you guys know what I'm talking about if I'm saying that wrong. But I tried my best. And what's funny is I didn't intend for this red circle to be like the flag, but it works out, actually. This red circle, it was mostly just because red and black are prominent in Japanese art, and that was what I was going for. But it ended up looking like a Japanese flag. So I think that was pretty cool. And I tried to use some very textured, because her hair is black, but I didn't want to do solid black. But I think this textured look is pretty cool. What do you think? Vampire. So this is for the prompt drain, like draining you of your blood. But this character, okay, she's not technically a vampire. She is part of my fantasy world where I'm calling them vampires, but I'm not sure that that's the name I'm gonna stick with for this race of beings. They can and sometimes do drink blood, but they tend to just drain you of life and vitality and consume it into themselves. And this one is Gilus, and she is one of the creepiest. There are a handful of decent vampires who aren't awful people, I guess. She is not one of them. She is an awful person. And she was an awful person before she was a vampire. She's even worse after. And I really like this red. This is actually a red pen, like a ballpoint pen, that I went over in long, straight up and down strokes. I don't know if you can see the strokes in it. But I can in person, but I don't know if you can on camera. But I went up and down, up and down, up and down over the entire thing, and then I did it again to even out the color, and I just think it looks so cool. And I love the little blood and the lips. I love everything about this drawing. I just think it's a lot of fun. Anyway, flip. We have entered the fan art. It's slowly getting dimmer and dimmer, so I'm trying to be a little faster as we come to the end-ish. So, I don't know if y'all know who this is, but if you don't, you should. This is Todrick Hall. He has the song Expensive from Straight Outta Oz. And this is the look for the second Expensive music video, where he's walking down a catwalk. And this is an all-red suit that he's got going on in the video, but I didn't want to color it in all red because I really just liked this very graphic, bold style that I managed, and somehow it actually really looks like him. This is not my first time doing Todrick Hall something. I actually sculpted Todrick Hall and then gave him that sculpture. So he has that. What he did with it, I don't know, but he has it. So this is some more fan art, and I'm really excited because I love Todrick Hall. So when I saw Expensive and he has the song Expensive, I couldn't help myself. So check him out, he's great. If you don't know him, you should. He's amazing. So this is another one of the solid background. I don't know if you can tell on camera that that's not black, it's brown. It's a dark brown. And this was for the prompt Muddy. And so I drew one of my characters, Chastity, all muddy and mudded up because I saw a reference that I really liked that I thought looked quite similar to her. And it had the hair done differently, but I added her hairstyle in over the top. And I thought it was a really fun reference, so I drew it. Because I could. That's the story behind that one. And then I went in with a brown pen and added some muddy swipes over her shirt and her face. And then a brown background. Yeah. I've just realized something as I'm looking at this. I don't remember what she's called. Okay. This is my character, Scream. Scream is something. There is a Japanese creature in Japanese mythology that doesn't have a face, and they are usually tricksters, and they are pretty harmless from what I've come to understand of them, and I will put their name up on screen now. That. Whatever I've just put on screen, that was it. I'm sorry. But this is Scream, and she has no face. And what she does is, the reason they call her Scream is because she's never given them any other name. And she likes to copy the screams or the appearance of someone that you know or that you love, and it gets you to come over to her. And the whole purpose of her character is that she has been corrupted by dark magic, so she is no longer harmless, but she is tasked with watching over a particular something, and I won't tell you what that particular something is because it would ruin a huge plot element of a story that is only half mine, and I'm not gonna do that. So she is tasked with protecting it, and so she's kind of deadly because her whole life's mission is to stop people from getting this thing. So if you try to get this thing, she will use her choppy stabby knife and she will chop and stab you. And that's why she fits Chop, and I gave her a little knife. And fun fact, oops, sorry, bumped the tripod. Fun fact about this character and this design, I actually used the dress design from a Japanese doll that I thought was adorable, and I don't know why, I've just always kind of imagined her as like a really creepy doll-like person. And what's funny is she has, in the story, she has a mask that's like a porcelain mask that she will sometimes put on that looks like her, that looks like a face that is hers. So she actually has like a porcelain doll face, and I think that's really creepy and cool. Hopefully you do too. This is my character, Alex. He is a moody boy. He is a prickly boy by the prompt. He is a werewolf baby, and he's not happy about it. He's not happy about anything. He is not a happy boy. He is a grumpy boy. And that's basically all there is to his character. No, I'm just kidding. He has a really layered backstory, and there's a lot going on in this boy's head, but I don't want to get too much into that because I haven't really talked about that facet of the story he comes from. He is a part of the demon universe, by the way. If you haven't seen my introduction to the demon universe, you should go watch it. It's a playlist on my channel. You should go watch it. After this one, of course. God, I'm so bad at this. But Alex really fits for the prompt prickly because he's very much like a prickly boy. He doesn't like to get close to people. He's very much like the typical young adult novel boy that you meet where he's like moody and deep. He's kind of your typical YA novel boy, but he doesn't end up with either of the main characters. So there's your YA difference for you. But he is one of my favorite characters because he's just really like multifaceted and funny, and he just makes me laugh and he makes me happy. Okay, so this one, as you can probably tell, is a pencil sketch. I didn't finish it, but this is for the prompt stretch. I just kind of wanted to show you what I had going for stretch. And it's my character, it's supposed to be my character Ava with her bow. And she's stretching the drawstring back, but I'm having a lot of trouble. There are a couple of them that are kind of half finished, and stretch is one of them. So I might go on and finish this later, but I just don't have the inspiration right now. And I'm kind of burning myself out trying to get everything done. So I hope you don't mind that this one is half finished. This one is fully like drawn out. I just haven't inked it yet. But this is Thunder, and this is my character Madeline, who is a sorceress of sorts, who has the ability to control the weather in a sense. When she gets really angry, she starts thunderstorms. So that was sort of the concept for this drawing, is that for some reason someone has really made her angry. So she is about to start a thunderstorm. This one, I love this drawing so much. I love it. I love it, I love it. So this one is the prompt gift. Because these are my characters, Elliot and his daughter Issa, and they are so cute and so sweet. He is a single father to her, and sort of the caption that I came up with for this one was that I didn't need to know your mother long for her to give me the greatest gift anyone could ever give me. And basically the story here is that Elliot and Issa's mother had kind of a little bit of a fling, and Issa's mother didn't want to be a mother. So when she got pregnant, she was like, I'll give you a choice. I can put the baby up for adoption, or you can keep the baby, but I don't want to be a part of it. And he was like, I'm keeping my child. So she had the child and left her in the care of her father and went off to do her own thing. And it's a terrible thing for her to do, but he at least has his daughter and they love each other very much, and he takes such good care of her. And he is only a side character throughout the stories. He is a bartender who helps out now and then, who is friends with one of the main characters. And that's pretty much the extent of his involvement in the story. But him and his daughter have a really sweet relationship, and I love it. So I drew this adorableness. Let's take a moment to linger on the cuteness. All right, moving on. Okay, double. Okay. This one. This. Okay, this did not turn out the way I wanted it to. So let's flip it so you can see the other way. I really like this concept, and I think I'm gonna turn it into a full digital painting. But I don't like how their faces turned out. And what really annoys me is that I created the basic pose digitally, and then I printed it, and I drew over the pose to get their like hair and their outfits, and I added the vines and the leaves on the flowers and the flames, and I added that stuff on top of the print, and I really liked that version where I did the sketch on top of the print, and then I had to transfer it here, and in transferring it, it just went wrong. I just don't really like how it turned out. I still think that the piece and the composition has a lot of potential. I really like how it looks in terms of the composition, but I just don't like how the inking turned out, and I would like to try it again later. This is, I think, day 30, so this is Jolt, and this is actually the character that I did for my How I Design Characters video, and I still haven't named him. So if you can come up with a name for this guy, watch that other video and see what you come up with, and then come back here and comment what you think his name should be. He has electric powers, and it just seemed really appropriate to do Jolt. And I don't know if you can even see like this very faint blue pen drawing of some lightning in the background. I think it's probably getting harder to see because the sun is setting, but that's okay, the video's almost over. So yeah, that's what we have for Jolt. This is a really sweet character, and I really like how this drawing turned out. I'm trying to draw characters more often and like more than once, so I can try and get better at consistently drawing them the same way. And I think I pulled that off pretty well here. Slice. I actually did this one today, right before filming, because I had no idea what to do, you guys. I had no idea what to do. And then my dad just offhandedly said, just Fruit Ninja something. And so I did. I Fruit Ninja'd a strawberry. That's all there is to this one. It's not a deep drawing. I still have a little bit of room in this sketchbook. I have a couple of other things sketched in here so far, like my 3 marker challenge, which I loved, and that, some doodles. But I will continue to use this sketchbook and try and post every now and then stuff from this sketchbook. I think I'm going to find my favorite drawing to do a little outro. Where is my favorite drawing? I actually don't remember where it is. Oh, right here. Ah. All right, so let's leave it on clock for now. And wow, the lighting has changed. What the heck? So that is where I'm gonna leave this week's video. I'm gonna do a little montage of each of the drawings. I'm gonna take a little photo session of them. And I hope that you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next video. If you're subscribed, which you should be, and you should also hit the notification bell because it lets you know when I post videos like this one. And don't you wanna know when I post more videos? Come on, guys, we can do this. I saw that I had 2 shares in my month in review, and I was like, what? Who shared my video? What? So every time I get those month in review ones, it's like, you have this many comments and this much, it makes me happy. Every time I get a comment, I'm so happy, you guys. Can't even explain. But anyway, I love you guys, and I love this channel, and I love this drawing, and I love art, and I'm so glad that I can say I'm done with Inktober this year, because I didn't get all of them done, and I didn't do everything that I wanted to do, but I'm really happy with how I came out either way, and this year's October has, full disclosure, been really hard for me. So I'm happy with where I am, and I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope you have a good morning, evening, afternoon, nighttime, time of day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.